Hi everyone and welcome back to Ships at Sea. Today we're just going to have a quick look at the version 8.2 early test build. It is an early test build, so obviously we would expect there still to be bugs and problems happening. It's not been fully released as an early access patch. So the first thing we're looking at is there's a new menu screen, and if you select load game, you've got different tabs for your auto saves and your manual saves. You can see it does tell you if an old save could be partially incompatible. When you select a save to load, you now get this screen, so you can adjust your wave height and your storm wave height. I'll just leave them as is. And then we'll get into it. So let's get to the port and have a look what's changed there. So here we are on a wet, rainy day. So one of the first things I'll show you is you can see they've actually painted onto the floor where you drop cargo off, which is something I did suggest in the last video, so it's really great that they've actually taken that on board and done it, not necessarily from watching my video, but that is going to be so much more useful. What we'll do, we're just going to have a quick look in the shop, see what's different in there. So under parts, obviously there's more missions for fixing sea markers and lighthouse bulbs, so there's all sorts of replacement parts for that. Binoculars, we'll need them if we're actually going to do whale watching. We've now got fish knife and fish hooks. We've got various knives and hooks, which is a great thing. The only problem is the most expensive knife, which offers a 40% boost to gutting, is only 499 NOK. So effectively people will go from the cheapest one straight to the most expensive one. These ones in between, they won't get used. Similarly, we can say the same about the hook. Again, people will just jump from one to the other. So it might be an idea, a suggestion I would say, is to make these hooks and knives unlockable. If you gut a certain amount of fish, you unlock the knife. If you hook a certain amount of fish, you unlock the hook. It'll just make them a little bit more harder to attain, and actually these intermediate hooks and knives will actually have a purpose. Okay, let's have a quick look in the office. So one thing that's changed, all these icons have become the same, which is a little bit confusing because, you know, the harbour cleanup, you actually have to read each mission to see what it is. Before, you could just run down the icon. If you were looking for a harbour cleanup, it was clearly marked with the icon, so hopefully that will change. One of the new missions, I'll just try and scroll down and show you. Is whale observation. I was going to run through this, but I think the latest patch has actually broken it, because what happens when you accept the mission, the idea is, if I just come out of the office for a moment, is when I go to the missions, here there should be a marker saying observation area, and then it shows you how far away it is. Unfortunately there's no icon appears on the map, so I won't actually be doing my whale observation. I'll wait until it's a little bit more whole, a bit more fixed. And the same with the lighthouse repair. I did go across to have a quick look at the lighthouse mission, but again, it seemed very glitchy. There were a lot of double doors, things weren't being removed. So again, I will have a look at them, but I'll wait until a few more patches have dropped and hopefully it's in a better state to actually be able to complete the mission. The other thing we see, there's a new tab, the crew tab. So we can actually hire crew members here. So you will simply click and hire them. At the moment you can't actually do anything with the crew member. They will just go on your boat, and I believe at the moment they will only go on tier 3 boats. So what we'll do is we will go out on the Poseidon vessel. So I'll just switch out here and we'll assign our crew member to it. So there's a Poseidon. We'll click on that. And one of the things on the Poseidon under upgrade is remote control, the auto activation of the hauler system. So we are going to buy that because I do want to show you how that works. And we'll just install it straight away. And what we'll also do, if we go to the company, we can go to the crew tab. There's our crew member, and we'll assign him to our boat. Okay, we'll go to the Poseidon. What I'll do is I'll buy some bait, I'll head us out, throw a quick line down, and then talk through some of the changes that have actually appeared on my boat and out at sea. We should see our crew. There he is. Yep, looks fairly happy riding their tower. So what we'll do is we'll get underway, and I will see you out at sea. Okay, so we're out at sea. I have just laid a line and I've left it to soak for 15 hours. So just going through a few differences on the boat here. We can see we have a new panel here. This is the circuit breaker. At the moment, what happens now is the circuit breakers have been connected to the instruments, the main lights and the equipment, primarily the crane. I would imagine these are shown as the status of the circuit: green fine, red obviously not working, and then we would have to change or fix all of those circuit breakers if they failed. The other thing, if we look at the arrow in the top right, at the moment you can see that arrow is pointing towards the north. What that actually means is that the wind is coming from the north, so all the waves and the movement will make it appear that we're going against the arrow, but that apparently is how it is done in navigation, real navigation, so that is accurate. If we look at the boat, it's quite calm, but even in a 2 knot you can see the physics, the boat's really rocking, so they haven't quite sorted that out yet. Obviously I'm hoping it will be on their to-do list. It seems to be one of the most common complaints people have, is the physics just feel completely wrong. Unfortunately, if you call a game a simulation, people are going to have a certain expectation. Right, so what we'll do is one other thing to show you very quickly is the weather tab. At any point you can change your weather settings now, so if you wanted to reduce the swell or the wave height, if you wanted to increase visibility because you're pulling in lines, then you can do that. One thing I'm not sure about is to what extent it will remain permanent. I don't know if it'll go back to being random after a while, or whether or not it will now stay at no wave height, etc. So I kind of going to leave that alone. So one big difference, again I remember especially on the smaller boats saying how useful it would be until the crew was introduced, if we could actually auto haul lines. Well, you can see just over there where it says start hauling, we've got that fitted, so all we have to do is back onto this buoy, and the days of sprinting towards a hatch and rushing to pick up that buoy over, although to be honest never really struggled on this boat, it wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. And this will be the one time I can't actually get onto that buoy at all, but we'll just reverse back a little bit. Some other improvements they've done, they have improved the multiplayer experience. Everyone gets experience for doing different jobs. I haven't played multiplayer on this yet, but I can imagine that would be a welcome change. So hopefully as soon as that goes green, it says N, start hauling, bang, it auto hauls. So all we would have to do is grab our trusty hook, and we'd want to get down there fairly promptly, ready to hook the fish. And then you can see it actually tells us what the bonus weight is. As I said, that probably is going to be really welcome, especially on the smaller boats, which are a lot more twitchy. It'd be so much easier now to haul in. It won't apply to net fishing because, from what I remember, is we will have to actually open the conveyor to actually go in next to the net to operate it. So I don't think you can auto haul with net. Speaking of net fishing, that's probably one of the next videos I will be doing, because no update is complete without trying net fishing. But again, I think what I will do is wait until... I've not seen that fish before. I've never seen that. I wonder if I'm going to have to gut that and find out what fish that is. Sorry, I got off track then. So what I will do is I will do another video on net fishing to see if it becomes worth it, if it makes money, if the bugs have been resolved. I'll also, once they've put a few more patches out, I think I will come back and try and do a whale watching mission. I will try and do some lighthouse missions to have a look at that. But for the moment, let's go and see if we can see what that fish was. So we'll just get my fancy gutting knife. I'm sure that jigger used to be wooden. That looks a bit different as well. Okay, let's have a look. Catfish. Maybe the look of a fish has just changed. Yeah, I think maybe it's just maybe I haven't been fishing for a while. Yeah, we've done all these before, pollux, etc. I think it was a catfish. I just don't think I've seen them for a while. Okay. Right, I think that's enough. Let's just go and see if it was a catfish. I'm curious. Bins don't look like they've changed. Yeah, it was a catfish. I don't think I've actually done a lot of fishing with a catfish, so yeah. Okay, so I think I'll leave that video here now. I've gone through the main new things that this patch introduces. Obviously, I think they'll patch a few more things in before they release 8.2 onto the normal early access branch, and once that happens, I probably will do a couple more playthroughs. And yeah, any questions or comments, please leave below. Any opinions, always welcome. As always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.